Hey there, my name is Sarah. It's still technically Pride Month for like a couple more hours, so I thought that this would be as good a time as any to do an A to Z of CanLit video. If you're not familiar with this type of video, basically you go through the alphabet and for every letter you pick a book that relates in some way through like the title or the author or something like that. So I picked 26 books and in typical me fashion, all of them are Canadian. I'm going to try not to ramble on about every book because if I say everything I want to say about each book, this video is going to get unmanageably long, but we'll see how it goes. A is for Another Kind of Cowboy by Susan Juby. This is the first book I read with an LGBT protagonist and it holds a special spot in my heart. B is for The Best Kind of People by Zoe Woodall. There's a couple of authors whose names you'll hear again and again when I do this tag because I love their books so much and I couldn't pick just one by them, and Zoe Woodall is one of these authors. I love her books. C is for the absolutely beautiful book The Clothesline Swing by Amadeni Ramadan. D is for the memoir Confessions of a Fairy's Daughter Growing Up with a Gay Dad by Alison Waring. E is for Cinnamon Toast and the End of the World by Janet E. Cameron. F is for Fruit by Brian Francis. This is probably the most realistic depiction of puberty that I've ever seen in a book, which I feel really weird about saying because this is actually a book about talking nipples. G is for First Spring Grass Fire by Ray Spoon. If you're a fan of Ray's music, you definitely need to check this out, and if you're not a fan of their music, then you need to check out their music and then check out this book. H is for Holding Still for As Long as Possible by Zoe Woodall. I is for a book that I don't actually have a physical copy of, and that is Intolerable by Kamal El-Soleili. This is a book that was in the running for Canada Reads a few years ago, and it didn't win, and I'm still mad about it because apparently I can't let these things go. J is for Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, aka the book that I cannot shut up about this year. K is for Kicking the Sky by Anthony Dessaulles. L is for Little Fish by Casey Plett. M is for Bad Ideas by Michael V. Smith, which is a book of poetry that I love. N is for Natural Order by Brian Francis. I cried a lot at this one. O is for Prairie Ostrich by Tamaya Kobayashi. This book brought up a lot of Charlotte's Web feelings with me, let me tell you. P is for Passage, which is a book of poetry by Gwen Banawe. Q is for another book that I don't have a physical copy of, and that is A Boy Named Queen by Sarah Cassidy. This is a middle grade book, and while it's not expressly LGBT, it does get a little bit into gender nonconformity and has some good lessons about being yourself in the face of people who really don't think you should. R is for The Scorpion Rules and also its sequel, The Swan Riders by Erin Bow. S is for Skim by Mariko and Gillian Tamaki, which is my favorite graphic novel of all time. T is for Tomboy Survival Guide by Ivan Coyote. U is for Monoceros by Suzette Meyer, which I picked for that letter because there's kind of a unicorn thing that goes on in this book. V is for Days That End in Y by Vicky Vansickle, and I totally should have picked that for Y. Way to go, self. This is book 3 in a middle grade trilogy, and this is also the book where one of the secondary characters comes out as gay, which I really appreciate in a middle grade book because I feel like the rare time when there are LGBT characters in middle grade fiction, either they are adults or there's no kind of terminology used and it's just kind of vaguely hinted at. And that's not the case with this book. W is for When Everything Feels Like the Movies by Raziel Reed. X is for Bottle Rocket Hearts by Zoe Woodall, and there's actually a character in this book whose name is X'd out, so this totally works for this letter. Y is for You Set Me on Fire by Mariko Tamaki. And Z is for Everything is Awful and You're a Terrible Person by Daniel Zamparelli, aka the book that I couldn't shut up about last year. And that is it for my A to Z of CanLit Canadian edition. Let me know, what books have you read that fall into this category? What am I missing? And what should I pick up next? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!